Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the official launch of the Australian Research Council Centre of Excellence for Enabling Eco-Efficient Beneficiation of Minerals. My name's Peter Scales from the University of Melbourne, and I'll be your MC for this event this morning. The event is hopefully a reasonably quick one. It will take probably about 25 minutes. We have 7 speakers. I'd like to particularly welcome our dignitaries this morning, Senator Hollie Hughes, Senator for New South Wales, Professor Sue Thomas, CEO of the ARC, Professor Alex Zielinski from University of Newcastle, Nathan Towney from University of Newcastle, Craig Wilson from FL Smith, and Karen Hopgood from Deakin University, and the Director of the Centre of Excellence, Kevin Galvin from the University of Newcastle. I also welcome our partners to the Centre, Amira, CSIRO, George International and FL Smith. I welcome the students and staff of the Centre, our collaborators, and in particular, the senior representatives of the universities and organisations that are associated with the Centre. So welcome one and all, and I want to now start proceedings by asking Mr. Nathan Towney, who's Provost Chancellor in Indigenous Strategy and Leadership from the University of Newcastle, to give us an acknowledgement of country, please. Nathan.
Peter, and good morning, everyone. My name is Nathan Towney. I'm a proud Aboriginal Koori man from the Binjang clan of the Wiradjuri Nation. I'm from Wellington, New South Wales, with ties to the Bulgandra Mine Mission and Peak Hill and the Nenema Reserve just outside of Wellington. I feel really honoured to be able to acknowledge country today at this significant event. When I acknowledge country, I'm referring to our mother. She's made up of the land, the waterways, the sky, all living things that occupy these spaces, and the spiritual connection that exists between all of these things. I'm dialing in today from the lands of the Awabakal and Worimi people. I acknowledge them as the traditional custodians of these lands. I pay my respect to their elders, past and present, and extend that respect to the traditional owners of the lands where everyone is dialing in from today. Sovereignty has never been ceded in this country. I also acknowledge your homelands, whether that be from across the sea or down the road. I acknowledge the spiritual connections that you have to people and place. For Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, the advancements of technology and society in general have come at the expense of caring for and focusing on the impact of our mother. Even though this Centre of Excellence doesn't explicitly frame it this way, it provides an exciting opportunity to transform Australia's minerals industry, to prioritise country and think about the unique relationship that exists within country. I challenge the Centre to think about how 60,000 years of Aboriginal knowledge can help guide its work. This is a really exciting opportunity, and I wish everyone involved all the success that they deserve. Thank you.
Thank you, Nathan. Really nice words. I'd now like to welcome Professor Sue Thomas, who is the CEO of the Australian Research Council, to talk about the Centres of Excellence scheme. Obviously, as a major sponsor of this centre, we welcome Sue to the meeting this morning. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Scales. Good morning, everyone. I too would like to respectfully acknowledge the traditional owners of country throughout Australia and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging, extending that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. I'd also like to acknowledge everyone who has joined online to participate in today's event, particularly Senator Hughes. I am delighted as the CEO of the ARC to be here for the launch of the ARC Centre of Excellence for Enabling Co-efficient Beneficiation of Minerals. This is one of 9 new ARC Centres of Excellence that were awarded a total of $308.8 million funding for 7 years in our most recent 2020 scheme. It is a real pleasure to be here for this virtual launch. We're all sorry we can't be there in person due to COVID, And as you can imagine, we've got a number of major investments and centres that have been delayed in their capacity to launch. So it's fantastic to see this one actually getting across the line. We all hope that the inconvenience of lockdowns will soon be behind us all, and that your research program won't suffer any further disturbance. Of course, the ARC will continue to work with you to ensure that your research is supported, and we do understand that your research is moving ahead in spite of quite extraordinary circumstances. So ARC Centres of Excellence like this are some of Australia's most prestigious meeting points of research expertise, through which high quality researchers can collaborate and develop our international standing in research areas of national priority. A significant part of the ARC Centres of Excellence is to build Australia's research capacity by attracting and retaining outstanding researchers and providing high quality research training for the next generation of researchers. I note that some of the research team in this Centre of Excellence came together at the ARC Research Hub for Advanced Technologies for Australian Iron Ore, which was funded in 2013. So it is a good team with a long history. That hub was a great success, and I'm really pleased to see that the research program has a renewed focus through this new Centre of Excellence. So I, like everyone else here, looks forward to hearing about the great research outcomes you'll achieve for Australia's resource industry over the coming years. And so I will pause there, and I would now like to introduce Senator Hollie Hughes, Senator for New South Wales. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Thomas, and good morning, everyone, on what is really quite an historic day for all Australians, but especially for what we're launching this morning. I'd also like to respectfully acknowledge the traditional owners of country throughout Australia and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. I extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people present today. I'd also like to acknowledge the distinguished guests who are participating in today's event. I'm pleased to be speaking for the official launch of the ARC Centre of Excellence for enabling eco-efficient beneficiation of minerals that has been funded with $35 million over 7 years by the Australian Government through the Australian Research Council. Australia's mining, equipment, technology and services sector contributes an annual 15% of GDP and supports over 1.1 million jobs, many of them in regional and remote communities. This sector is the source of many of the critical minerals and metals that are helping the world to transition towards renewable energy. It's the source of the metals that make wind turbines, batteries in electric vehicles, and the vast array of components needed in smart electrics. The global demand for these metals, such as nickel, copper, lithium, and the rare earth metals, is increasing rapidly and will continue to increase over the coming years. Even as this demand increases, the extraction of these minerals is becoming more difficult. New minerals reserves are often deeper and have more complex mineralogy, couldn't get that one out, which requires a more sophisticated and expensive technology to extract and process them. It's vital for Australia that this industry grows. It also achieves high levels of sustainability in terms of energy and water use, pollution mitigation, and long-term environmental governance. We have an opportunity as a nation to be at the forefront of the technology that is dealing with these global challenges. The research team at this ARC Centre is working with minerals and technology service providers to transform the industry and to achieve its production and environmental sustainability goals. A collaboration between the University of Newcastle and 7 other Australian universities, this centre has links with the CSIRO and several major industry partners, including FL Smith, Amira Global and Yord International. The research will be embedded with these industry partners who are also providing significant funding to support and expertise. This collaboration will create a wide range of high-tech and manufacturing jobs and new exports in the form of green metals and technology services that support their development. The transformation aims to lower energy and water use by 50% and to achieve safer waste management practices. These are global challenges, not just ones that Australia face, and are critical to the competitiveness of the Australian minerals industry and its technology partners that we are at the forefront of their solution. I congratulate Laureate Professor Kevin Galvin, Director of the ARC Centre of Excellence for Enabling Eco-Efficient Beneficiation of Minerals. I'm sure they'll come up with a briefer acronym for you with that, but for assembling also a research team with broad and relevant experience. I know that this centre will also support more than 70 PhD students and 15 postdoctoral researchers, many of whom will become future leaders, driving innovation in the metals mining sector in Australia. So I'd like to officially launch this ARC, and to conclude, I'd just like to wish you every success and look forward to your progress towards developing new sustainable minerals technology and services for export to the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. I note that you're a very, very strong advocate for regional areas, and mining obviously is in a lot of the regional spaces in the world. I'd now like to call on Professor Alex Zielinski, who's the President and VC of University of Newcastle, to respond, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter, our MC, and good morning, everybody. Let me begin also acknowledge the country. Thank you, Nathan Towney, for doing that. I also acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land, which all of you join us here today. And so thank you very much, Senator Hollie Hughes, and welcome to the virtual launch. And thank you for doing that and representing the Minister for Education. And also acknowledge Professor Sue Thomas, the CEO of the ARC, for joining us today. Thank you very much for both of you joining us in your busy schedules. And for the bigger call out there to all our partner universities and organisations who are joining us online today. I think there's close to 100 people online today. So certainly this is a really proud day for the university, and we're very delighted to support this new ARC Centre of Excellence. I think that, as the Senator referred to, it's got to be the world's longest name for the ARC Centre of Excellence. I'm going to refer to, I internally refer to the ARC Centre of Excellence for the minerals industry, and that's where it's about. And I think it's a fantastic linking of industry to academia. And certainly congratulate Kevin Galvin and his team for their leadership in this important initiative. And also, I've got to also acknowledge Kevin and his team for their resilience. This is their 4th attempt at launching the centre. And we've been really disrupted by COVID, but they're well done. They've been able to get on with it, and delighted that we can actually formally kick off things and launch. So this is a very much a future-facing centre, as the Minister referred to, and we're also very proud that it's headquartered in the Hunter region. And Senator Hughes mentioned about the need for minerals going forward. One of the most compelling things I read in an article was that we're talking about the needs of copper in electric vehicles. So just the electric car industry, to produce the cars that we'll need, the copper they'll need in the future will require more copper than we've ever mined in humanity's history. So that's the demand. So it means to get that kind of resource, we'll need to do it in a very efficient and sustainable way. So, and that's obviously very challenging to address such a complex demand and increasing demand. So we need to bring the best minds in Australia and across the world together to answer this question. So our belief here at the university is that we can only answer these questions of complexity that have global ramifications is through partnership. And I'm delighted, as the Senator mentioned, we've got 8 of Australia's top universities coming together. University of Newcastle, they're leading the way, but we've also got the University of Queensland, University of Melbourne, UniSA, UNSW, Deakin, Monash and Curtin. So wonderful partners in this venture, take this venture forward from an academic perspective, real academic excellence there. But also we've got industry-facing organisations like the CSIRO, FL Schmidt, Amira and George Jord International. So thank you to all these partners, because a Centre of Excellence can only work if it links academia to industry and to ultimately outcomes for Australia that have global ramifications. So, and I'd like to, and this cannot be possible without this excellent support of the ARC. So thank you, Sue, for what you and your organisation are doing in this regard, and also acknowledge the contributions of the New South Wales and South Australian governments. Newcastle's had a long history in establishing new technologies for the mineral sector. I saw that Laureate Professor Graham Jamieson was online. I saw him coming online. Graham's a real legend in our university and for Australia. The Jamieson cell, which is one of the great innovations in the minerals industry, has driven over $50 billion worth of value for the Australian economy. Extraordinary. Now, I wish I could have clipped that ticket, but it was done for the country and really created jobs and national wealth and impact. And I know Kevin Galvin, who's leading our centre, is also working on things such as the reflex classifier, which is another innovation which is generating economic impact. And looking at track record can be an indication of success and potential. So I'm hoping that the ARC's Centre of Excellence for Minerals Industry will be another contributor to these kind of innovations and breakthrough ideas. So I think the centre will serve as an exemplary model of how research can contribute to our economic success of Australia. And I have no doubt that Kevin and his team will ensure the success of the centre is now great for the benefit for all. So congratulations to everyone who's involved. Thank you to our partners again, and I look forward to hearing about the big things that you achieve in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. So the next speaker is Laureate Professor Kevin Galvin, who is the director of the ARC Research Centre of Excellence for Enabling Eco-Efficient Beneficiation of Minerals. It is a long name, isn't it? We can't even fit it on their screens at the back. So, Kevin, please.
Thank you, Peter. How about COE minerals? All right. The global uptake in electric vehicles is expected to increase by around 30% per annum for the next 30 years. So what we're witnessing here is a global shift from carbon to metals. You know, we want the wind turbines, we want the batteries, the electric vehicles, the smart electronics. We should stop and think, well, where are all the metals going to come from? For the mining industry, supplying the minerals to make the metals will be very demanding, almost diabolical. We've heard some commentary already. The global consumption of copper over the next 20 years is likely to exceed all copper consumption in human history. It's a great time to be a minerals processor, certainly from a research perspective. We're looking as a centre to change the way we recover and concentrate minerals. The industry is really, in the main, relying on 20th century technology. But what we have here is a 21st century challenge. So our research is really about delivering and enabling transformational change to reduce environmental impacts, such as energy and water, while maximising the recovery and value of the resources. So this is very well aligned with Nathan Towney's comments earlier, which is very much about respecting the land. We have assembled an amazing world-leading team from 8 Australian universities, international research leaders, and we have our industry partners on board, world-leading. And we're engaged with our end users. So we're already starting to see impact emerging in the area of platinum, nickel, through faster processing, extraction of valuable minerals from tailings, manganese, cassiterite, and with a strong focus on gold, copper, rare earth minerals, and so on. It's very much a science project, though, building fundamental knowledge around some really highly innovative ideas, inventions, technologies. So we have a real pipeline. We are seeing technologies being licensed to in the last 12 months. And we've had a major full-scale trial undertaken this year. We've got new industry investment for a major trial of another technology going into next year. So we're really trying to hit the ground running. I want to take this opportunity to firstly thank the Australian Research Council for all their support and especially their flexibility during these difficult periods of time. I also want to thank the University of Newcastle, particularly its Research and Innovation Division, who've taken a real collaborative approach to helping us to establish this centre, and the leadership from all the other Australian universities. Finally, I would like to thank all our researchers and our partners, FL Schmidt, Jord International, Amara Global, CSIRO, for their enthusiasm and productive contributions. And I mean productive contributions, which is a real key to the collaboration. Also, special thanks to members of our International Advisory Panel, our advisory board as well, outstanding leaders in their own right, for their guidance and support. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. We've heard about the partners to the centre, FL Smith, Jord, Amara and Saro. And we'd now like to call upon Craig Wilson, who's the Global Product Line Manager for sizes, screens and centrifuges for FL Smith to talk to us, please. Thank you, Craig.
Thank you, Peter. On behalf of the industry partners, I'd like to thank the Australian Government and the ARC for the ongoing support in providing research funding that benefits the mining, equipment, technology and service industry, and in particular, the Centre of Excellence project, which aligns with the zero emissions targets our major customers and industry partners are striving towards. The focus on water reduction, improved recovery and reduced footprint are all exciting areas of innovation that will assist in achieving zero emissions. Without innovation, product development, successful execution and delivery from the met sector, this objective would become more difficult to achieve. The knowledge sharing between the COE members and the industry partners on new innovations, and sometimes game-changing, creates an opportunity to expand on some of the things the industry partners are already working on. Large global companies like FL Schmidt have the ability to introduce these innovations around the globe. It's interesting to note that FL Schmidt announced its Mission Zero program at its Capital Markets Day in Copenhagen in November 2019, which is why we are so excited about being an industry partner within the COE project. Our long-term relationship with the University of Newcastle and the introduction of the reflux classified technology has had a large impact in the recovery of fine particles in the coal, iron ore, chrome, manganese markets, to name a few. In some cases, the availability of the superior technology was the only reason that some large projects were able to proceed. The innovative technologies that the university has brought to the table over the many years of working together is strategically important for FL Schmidt. The stream of innovations has allowed consistent commercialization to enable FL Schmidt to be recognized as a technology leader of fines recovery and gravity separation through the introduction of the reflux classifier, and flotation, introducing the reflux flotation cell, and soon to be in the enhanced gravity separation, introducing the graviton. With that said, and in closing, the industry partners look forward to working closely with the COE members to achieve the objectives set out within the project. Thank you.
Thank you, Craig. And really, really important to have our METS partners there. Last speaker for this event is Professor Karen Hopgood from Deakin University, where she's the Executive Dean for Science, Engineering and Built Environment. We've heard a lot about technology and metals and challenges, but the centre is also about people and the people we're going to supply into the industry into the future and the diversity of those people. And I'd like Karen to talk, please, to that.
Thank you, Peter. So the Centre of Excellence for Minerals has a strong focus on equity and diversity, and particularly gender equity for the future of mining industry. There's a 2019 Grattan Industry report on the gender divide in universities by the field of study. And it really shows that in the last 35 years, since 1985, we haven't moved all that much. So women in engineering has increased, studying engineering has increased from 10% to 18%, but it's at nearly 50% in the field of science. And within universities, only about 10% of STEM professors are women, compared to much higher numbers in the pipeline at entry roles. These are not pipeline issues that will resolve with time. 35 years is long enough. These are consistent trends, and we really need to continue to take deliberate action to shift these. There's a similar overall picture in the mining and minerals industry. The Workplace and Gender Equity Agency in 2020 showed that mining was one of our least diverse sectors, with only 18% women. However, despite that, there are a large number of major and small and medium enterprises that are taking a different approach and setting ambitious targets for diversity to ensure that we have the best ideas and that everybody has an opportunity to contribute to an important industry. And they're making really good progress, but there's still more room to go. And so this Centre of Excellence really wants to be part of that change in the industry and to make sure that we are supplying the workforce of the future. We're off to a great start. 40% of the staff in the centre identify as female, from PhD students all the way to professors, and we're aiming to reach 50% as the centre continues, and to continue to work on other aspects of diversity as well. I am currently in my first ever all-female 5-women team, which is the first in my career. 3 female professors, 2 postdocs and a female student. So this is the first time ever, and it's an indication, hopefully, of the future as we go forward. We're really looking forward to seeing all of our skilled researchers that are trained through the centre and the academic links that are forged move out and connect in with new roles and projects within the Australian minerals, mining and equipment industries to drive the changes that are essential to transform our future. Thank you very much, Peter.
Thank you, Karen, and thank you, everyone. That concludes the launch event today. Thank you in particular once again to Senator Hughes and Professor Sue Thomas from the ARC. Thank you to our speakers. And you've heard a couple of times that this was the 4th attempt to do this. So in particular, a big thank you to Anne-Marie Faulkner, who's the Centre Operations Officer, who has borne the front, she's been at the forefront of those 4 attempts. And so well done to her, well done to everyone involved. Now we can get on with the work. Thank you very much to everyone.